Thank you, Nick and Christina, for setting up the program today. I also want to thank State Representative Ben Sanchez for being with us today. I don't know if you all know this about State Representative Sanchez, but from the very beginning, he has expressed his support for Ukraine, for us as we support Ukraine, and he has taken real, deliberate, actionable efforts to ensure that humanitarian needs are supplied and conversations are happening both here in his district and in the capital of Harrisburg and beyond. So thank you so much, Ben, for joining us today. And thank you all. I think this is probably one of the largest, if not the largest, groups that we've had apart from the first year of the acceleration of the war in 2022, where in terms of our audience size. So thank you all for being attentive to these issues. It's important for our students to know and understand the issues that are present in the world, especially the war on Ukraine, which is an absolute abomination. There's been about 1.5 million people killed per NPR data in the war, of which about 500,000, from my understanding, are Ukrainian and 1 million are Russian. So it is truly despicable what President Putin and his execution of the Ukrainian people, what he's doing is despicable, and we have to make sure that we are the voices. It's always smaller groups that tend to influence the world, and we are uniquely positioned at Manor College as the only institution in the United States that was founded by all Ukrainian religious sisters. It is our duty to make sure that we have conversations. That I had a faculty member, for example, who reached out to me the other day and said, what can I do? Well, what faculty members do well is teach and write. And so I said, what you should do is think about where can you publish an editorial. Write, teach, speak about the issues. Make sure that they're known, that the profile maintains, that the world, in an aggregate of voices, has the opportunity to say, no, this is not what we want as the people of not just our nation, but of the earth, and that we want peace to prevail. It's always also a small group of leaders who tend to go in the wrong direction in the world. And they have power and force and might behind them of various types. But we can't sit idly and just let that happen. Of the children that Christina and Nick spoke about, my understanding of the number is that it's between 25 and 50,000 children who've been abducted or in other ways. And I think the number was 2,500 in terms of how many have been killed. It's just absolutely tragic. We think about it's easy for us to sort of go along every day in our lives and to just read the news and carry on. But we can't do that. We have to think about that these are children and they are innocent. We have to be the people who are in some way doing something that helps and supports them. And in the beginning here, we worked closely with the sisters. We had major donors who were calling us and saying, what can we do? And a lot of that stuff has thinned. But we have to continue the messages and keep them strong and make sure that the humanitarian aid maintains and make sure that the messages of peace maintain and make sure that the numbers are there so that people can see them and be shocked by them and say to themselves, we cannot allow this to happen. So I just ask you to please join me and us in that. It is a part of the fulfillment of our institutional mission. So please make sure that you feel that in a robust way and that you connect with it and help us to perpetuate what needs to be on a humanitarian and a peace-seeking venture. So thank you all for that, and I'll reintroduce Christina, who's going to tell us about our video.